In the 7th year of being with Victor, I secretly bought a wedding dress and mustered up the courage to propose to him. But unfortunately, I was a few minutes late to the party that day and happened to hear him chatting with his friends. You said, Elena, you've been tired of playing for a long time. Victor lit a cigarette and laughed casually. 7 years, you're tired of it, right? Those people laughed along. That's right, 7 years, even a fairy would be bored. But Elena is really beautiful and has a good figure. Last time on Victor's birthday, she wore a stepmother's skirt. Which man present didn't stare at her? Honestly, Victor, you loved her so much back then. Are you really willing to give her up now? Victor said indifferently. When have I ever lied? Then, if I pursue Elena, you don't mind, right? Go ahead, Victor casually blew a smoke ring. As long as you don't mind. You're so good, you're not ashamed, you're taking over someone Victor is tired of playing with? Another round of laughter. That night I didn't go into the box. I just made up an excuse that I had a headache and went home. Victor didn't even ask a single question, he just hung up the phone. The decision to break up was probably made that night. Within 2 days, rumors started to spread in the circle that Victor was pursuing a sophomore girl, from the Performing Arts Academy, young, delicate and innocent. He always pursues people with a big scale, just like when he pursued me, he wanted to tell the world. He smashed the house, car and jewelry at will. The girl had never seen such a scene, she fell in 2 days. Victor brought people to the police station organized by friends, and everyone was quiet as soon as they entered the door. Several girls who were on good terms with me looked at me with some concern. I smiled. Why don't you talk? What are you looking at me for? Victor took the girl and sat down, then looked at me straight in the eye. Elena, today is a good opportunity, I will speak out. Well, you say, these years of separation and reunion are quite boring, and the feelings have faded a long time ago. I clenched my hands tightly, and the ring on my middle finger dug deep into my flesh, but I seemed to feel no pain. Shen Shen is young and simple, I really like her and don't want to wrong her. Victor touched the girl's hair. I have to give her a name, I nodded lightly. Well, I understand. Today we are still friends after all. You can come to me if you have any difficulties. As long as you are in Beijing, I will still take care of your affairs. Let's not talk about it. I chuckled and stood up. Since we have broken up, let's break up clearly to avoid misunderstandings from girls. Victor raised his eyebrows in surprise, and said after a moment, that's right. Then you guys get together, I'll go back first, let the driver take you? No, I'll take a taxi. I walked out of the room and closed the door casually, and heard someone ask, how long do you think Elena can last this time? 2 days? She seems really angry this time, so I'll bet on a week. Victor glanced at the door that was not completely closed, and smiled coldly. Within 3 days, she will come back crying again. It has been like this for so many years, I'm really tired of it. That's right, how can Elena leave you? Everyone knows that she loves you madly. I laughed to myself, clutched my handbag and walked quickly towards the elevator. Back in the apartment, I went to the corner of the cloakroom to take down the wedding dress. I waited half a year to get it. It's a pity that I will never have the chance to wear it. This wedding dress is custom-made and cannot be returned. I simply found a pair of scissors and cut it off. After all, leaving it here will only be an eyesore to Victor. When I finally left, I took off my ring and placed it on the coffee table. I didn't take much with me. I didn't want anything else except my personal belongings. After thinking about it, I left a note for Victor, saying that he could do whatever he wanted with the house and everything in it without asking me. I booked a flight for the early morning, flying to Hong Kong City. My best friend got married there before the new year, so it was a good time to go and relax with her. My best friend asked me to go shopping and have afternoon tea, and there was also a small party in the evening, all of whom were former classmates and old friends. After 3 rounds of drinks, someone pushed the door open again, and several female classmates' eyes lit up immediately. Nathan? You are such a rare guest. Yes, big brother, why did you come tonight? I was just talking about something next door, and I heard that old friends were having a party, so I came to join in the fun, Nathan said, his eyes fixed on a certain place for a moment, and then slowly moved away. My best friend pinched me quietly. Elena, Nathan came for you, right? I looked at the man with drunken eyes. He was taller than Victor, wearing a black coat, and a business suit of the same color inside. His eyebrows and eyes were very handsome, his figure was very stylish, and his legs were super long. I squinted for a while, then retracted my gaze and shook my head. No way, we haven't had sex for all these years contact. But my bestie ignored me and called Nathan directly. Nathan, can you help me take Elena later? We've all been drinking, I don't feel comfortable calling an online taxi. I looked up at Nathan in a daze, and Nathan's eyes also passed over the crowd and fell on my face. After about 2 seconds, I saw him nod. Okay, thank you, big man. My bestie sat down with a smile, leaned over and whispered in my ear, Elena, sleeping with a man for 7 years is not worth it no matter how you look at it. Victor can be fickle and have affairs, why can't you start a second spring? Besides, it's a waste not to sleep with a top-notch guy like Nathan. How do you know he will sleep with me? The way he looks at you is almost stripping you naked, baby. Believe me, I'm talking 18, more experience than you. Nathan drove me back to the hotel. When we got downstairs, I unbuckled my seatbelt and thanked him. Thank you for driving me back tonight. Nathan looked at me sideways. You're welcome. I pushed the car door open and was about to get out. Suddenly, I thought of what Victor said that day, and I asked for a while, would you like to go upstairs for a cup of tea? Nathan kissed me in the elevator. I was already drunk, and he kissed me so aggressively that I almost suffocated. There are surveillance cameras? I was panting, my cheeks flushed, and my legs were so weak that I could hardly stand. I could only hug his waist tightly. Nathan glanced at the camera, turned around, changed the angle, and kissed me again. When I opened the door, he suddenly called me, Elena, I can stop even if you regret it now. What are you regretting? I looked up at him, wrapped my fingers around his tie, and pulled him closer. You kissed my lips so hard that they are swollen, and now you say stop? Nathan suddenly laughed, and he stretched out his hand, and gently rubbed my slightly swollen lips with his fingertips. Then even if you regret it later, it will be useless. Our first time, Nathan didn't even endure it until he entered the bedroom, and his back rubbed against the wall and it hurt a little. I couldn't help but cry and bite him. Nathan, you are a beast, don't you know how to be gentle with women? His hot palms were placed on my back, and he hit me fiercely, and finally he panted and kissed the side of my neck. Elena, I can't help it. 5 minutes later, I finally understood what he meant by that sentence, and Nathan carried me back to the bedroom. I buried my face in the pillow and laughed. Nathan, how long have you not had a woman? Nathan looked at me with a sullen face. It's been a long time, I've been busy with work these years. I looked at him in surprise and gradually stopped laughing. After a while, tears suddenly came out. I'm sorry Nathan, I made you dirty. Elena, what are you talking about? Maybe because I cried, Nathan was a little flustered, he wiped my tears in a hurry. But I couldn't stop crying at all. I shouldn't have provoked you. But you have provoked me. Nathan leaned over, he held my face and looked at me steadily. His tone was actually a little serious. Elena, since you have provoked me, you have to provoke me to the end. Go on the 7th day in Hong Kong. My friend Leo in Beijing suddenly sent me a WeChat message. Elena, when are you coming back to Beijing? I have no plans to go back for the time being. Everyone misses you. Zachary's birthday is in 2 days. Come back and have a get-together. No, tell him for me and I'll send him a gift. Okay, take care of yourself then. In the box, Leo handed the phone to Victor. Victor, look, why don't you call Elena? She will definitely listen to you. Victor looked at the words on the screen coldly, suddenly put out his cigarette and stood up. You can come back or not, it's better to die outside. Victor, don't be angry, Elena must be upset. Yeah, she took off her ring this time, it seems she is really sad, and it's because you and that woman had too much trouble. We've already broken up, what else does she want? Victor suddenly got angry. Listen, no one is allowed to look for her again, not even if she dies. Okay, no, don't lose your temper. I just drank a lot of gastric bleeding and went to the hospital a few days ago. You didn't have a stomach problem when Elena was here, she's only been gone for a few days, and you've made yourself like this. Victor's face darkened when his friend said something, and in the end, he took his coat and slammed the door and left. Walking downstairs, the cold wind blew in his face, and Victor still felt that the anger in his chest could not be dissipated. Elena is really a woman, she hasn't called or sent a text message in 7 days, is she really kidding? Victor put Elena's number into the blacklist with a cold face. You'd better not come back crying and beg me, because this time, I will definitely not be soft-hearted towards you like before. When Nathan called, I had just typed the last line and clicked on the layout. I started writing magazine columns during college and had some success, so I just did it full-time after graduation. Thanks to this talent, I have a good income and freedom of work. I can go anywhere with my notebook. So after breaking up, I don't have to stay in Beijing and feel sad. Elena, what do you want to eat tonight? Nathan's voice came clearly. After a busy afternoon, it seemed to be comforted instantly. Tens of millions of brain cells have died. I'm so tired. You decide. How about hot pot? I know a brain pot restaurant. The brain flour is really good, you will definitely like it. When eating hot pot, I always like to order a portion of brain flour, but later, Victor said that it looked disgusting, so I rarely touched it. But I vaguely remember that Nathan's diet has always been very light. Nathan, you don't have to accommodate me like this, I'm not picky about food anymore. Yes, I suddenly want to eat it too. I remember when I was in college, there was a Maokai restaurant in the second cafeteria. The brain flour was very tender and fresh. Hearing him talk about this, I couldn't help but be greedy. That Maokai restaurant is really delicious. I ate it for 4 years in college and never got tired of it. Okay, let's eat hot pot. I'll pick you up now. Yeah. Nathan took me to a Chongqing hot pot restaurant that has been open in Hong Kong for many years. The store is old and not big, but the business is very good. Nathan, in a suit and tie, is really out of place in this environment. I watched him carefully wipe the chair for me with a tissue, and skillfully scald the dishes with boiling water and pour juice for me. A playboy like him is not unfamiliar with doing these trivial things. Nathan, your ex-girlfriend trained you really well. Unlike me, who has been on and off for 7 years, only enjoyed the feeling of being taken care of and held in the palm of someone's hand when Victor was pursuing me at the beginning. After graduating from college and living with Victor for more than a year, I lived to Achuo is like an old mother. Victor has a bad stomach, so I learned how to cook rice and soup, and take care of his diet like a young wife. But now I understand that I love him so much that I lost myself, and even forgot the principle of loving others first and loving yourself. How can I expect his love to last forever? While helping me wash the dishes, Nathan looked up at me and said, "Where did you hear that I have an ex-girlfriend?" I was stunned for a moment. Didn't you have a girl around you all day in college? It seems that you grew up together since childhood. Are you talking about Joey? Nathan laughed. It's true that we grew up together, but I never dated her, and I don't like her. At most, I treat her as a sister. Then you haven't dated in these years? Nathan folded his shirt sleeves slowly. I went on a blind date, had a brief contact, and broke up if it didn't work out. Oh, so you didn't have any more? I lowered my eyes, thinking of his first performance that night. It seemed that the truth of his words was several times more credible. Elena, I won't do it next time, Nathan suddenly said, leaving me confused. What don't you mean? He turned his face away and coughed lightly. Probably because of the steam from the boiling hot pot, his ears were surprisingly red. You'll know later. Nathan scooped the cooked brain flour for me. Eat it. Until he sent me after returning to the hotel. He carried me back to the bed from the bathroom after washing up, and I suddenly understood what he meant by that sentence before. But at that time, I was about to fall apart. I don't know how many times my hair on my temples was wet with sweat, and even my fingertips were trembling, but Nathan still showed no sign of ending. Nathan? I couldn't help but stare at him, but there was a layer of mist in my eyes, which made me look more attractive. The voice calling his name seemed to contain coquettishness, and it didn't sound like he was really angry. Nathan lowered his head and kissed me gently. Elena, are you comfortable? I shook my head and refused to answer him. He didn't get angry either, but the rhythm changed from a storm to a gentle and lingering one. I was so tortured that I couldn't bear it, and physiological tears flowed from the end of my eyes. Nathan. Nails were scratching on his lower back, and there was an unbearable cry in her voice. Elena, tell me now, do you feel comfortable? Nathan's eyes were red because he couldn't bear it, the muscles in his arms were tense, and the sweat on his forehead was dripping down one by one. That feeling of almost reaching the clouds, but always just a little bit closer, tortured me so much that I cried softly, comfortable, comfortable. The hot palms tightly grasped my waist, with the force of attacking a city, making my voice messy and broken. When my consciousness was finally pulled away, Nathan whispered in my ear, Elena, feel comfortable, just never leave me, okay? On the night of Zachary's birthday, the gift I bought in Hong Kong City was delivered to him by a friend. Victor is sitting on the sofa smoking, the wine in front of him is mostly empty. The gift I bought for Zachary was chosen by Nathan and me together. He liked antique cufflinks from a high-end brand. These cufflinks are quite exquisite. Zachary smiled a little stiffly, looking at Victor's face and not daring to say anything more. He quickly asked his girlfriend to put it away. Give it to me, Victor suddenly spoke. Zachary was stunned, but didn't dare to say anything. He quickly handed the box over. Victor looked at the pair of cufflinks. The brand's logo was very low-key and not conspicuous, but Victor stared at it for a long time. Put it away, he closed the box and pushed it aside. Zachary breathed a sigh of relief and quickly reached out to take it. Victor suddenly picked up the empty bottle in front of him and smashed it on the coffee table, shattering glass everywhere. A long bloody mark suddenly appeared on the back of his hand, and the box was immediately in chaos. What's wrong? Why are you so angry all of a sudden, Victor? The injury is serious, and the bleeding can't be stopped. Let's go to the hospital quickly. Victor stood there, motionless, with a gloomy face and full of anger. Elena has never bought anything of this brand. His voice was low, but hoarse and gloomy. Zachary smiled and said, what's the big deal? Elena may have just picked it casually. After all, it's not like your birthday. Elena has been thinking about what to give you half a year in advance. Yes, Victor, the position you hold in her heart is less than 1/10 of our brothers combined. Everyone knows how much Elena cares about you and cherishes you. Victor sneered when he heard this. Care about me? The noisy crowd inexplicably quieted down bit by bit. Victor. How about I call Elena? Let's go treat the injury first. Zachary suddenly took up his phone and took a photo of Victor's torn hand. Then he sent it to Elena directly on WeChat. Victor didn't stop him. Maybe because Zachary moved too fast, he didn't have time to stop him. The box suddenly became quiet. After about 10 seconds, Zachary's phone suddenly rang. Oh, I said Elena doesn't know how much she loves you and cares about you. Victor, look, Elena's phone. Zachary said happily. Everyone also noticed that Victor's face, which was originally full of anger, seemed to have relaxed a little. Victor, you answer it? Zachary handed the phone over, but Victor turned his face away without even looking at it. Zachary said happily, I'll answer it, hee, and he deliberately turned on the speakerphone. When Elena's voice sounded, Victor's lips tightened instantly. Zachary, what happened? Are you hurt? Oh, it's not me, it's Victor's hand. You don't know how serious the injury is, how scary it is, the bleeding can't be stopped. Zachary talked for a long time, but there was silence on the other end of the phone. Elena, are you listening? Or you should come back. Victor refuses to go to the hospital. It's not good to bleed all the time. Zachary, Elena's voice is still so gentle and sweet. Hey, Elena, I'm listening to you. Don't tell me about him in the future. Zachary's smile suddenly disappeared. Elena? And happy birthday to you, Zachary. Well, Elena, you, don't hang up, Elena. But the sound of the phone being hung up was already very clear, and Zachary was completely stunned. He held the phone like a hot potato, and he really wanted to slap himself unconscious. Why did he meddle in other people's business for no reason? What kind of trouble did he cause? The box was silent, but Victor looked at everyone calmly and smiled. Are you all mute? No one dared to say anything. Victor laughed again. Why are you all silent? Victor. Don't get angry, there's more blood flowing. Victor, you know Elena's temper best. Shuewan, who had been sitting quietly in the corner, suddenly spoke up. Actually, I've wanted to say this a long time ago. What you did before was too hurtful. Elena is a girl, and girls are the most thin-skinned. Even if you don't like her anymore, you should part ways amicably. Who said I want to part ways with her in peace? Victor laughed sarcastically and coldly. She has been with me for 7 years. I would have tamed her even if I had a dog. Shuewan smiled very softly. Have you ever thought about how many 7 years a girl has? What if Elena really never comes back? Impossible. No one noticed that there was a subtle tremor in Victor's ending tone. Is there anything in this world that is impossible forever? Once your heart is broken and cold, how hard is it to warm it up again? Victor, don't do anything that you will regret later, Shuewan said. Without lingering any longer, she picked up her bag and walked out. Zachary, who was sitting not far away, looked at her, his wife of 2 years, with an unclear gaze. Was she feeling sorry for Elena and trying to stand up for her, or was she just feeling sad and accusing Zachary of being bad to her as his wife? Zachary, aren't you going to see your sister-in-law off? Zachary curled his lips and lit a cigarette. Who is your sister-in-law? Your sister-in-law is filming right now and will not leave the crew until next month. Just do it. The friend shook his head helplessly, and Zachary did not comment. Shuewan is different from Elena. Elena is not burdened by her family and can earn money on her own. If they really split up, their quality of life would only decline a little, but Shuewan has a bottomless Shue family and a brother who is paralyzed in bed. She didn't dare to leave him. Even if she had 10 courages, she wouldn't dare to leave him. As soon as I hung up the phone, Nathan hugged me from behind. He rested his chin on my neck and rubbed it gently, but he didn't say anything. I couldn't help but laugh. What's wrong? Elena, will you go back? Where to? Back to Beijing. I have no plans to go back for now, but maybe in the future. After all, I haven't done anything shameful. Why can't I go back? My home is still there. Nathan stopped talking again, and I finally figured out what he meant. Are you asking me if I will get back together with Victor? Will you? I'm not going to. Do you believe me? Nathan lowered his eyes, and his tall nose gently rubbed against my cheek. I want to believe. Nathan, I have a face and self-esteem. Do you still have him in your heart? I thought seriously, if I say I don't have any, it's not realistic. After all, it's been so many years. Nathan suddenly bit me lightly. Don't say it, Elena. Listen to me. But to say that this feeling is reluctance or unwillingness is not the case. I gently touched Nathan's face and said, I didn't feel too much pain when I broke up with him, so maybe I didn't love him anymore. Perhaps, from the moment he started to lose interest in this relationship, I was ready to break up. I won't be absent-minded. I won't be indecisive. I won't make you cry or make you sad. Nathan hugged me tighter and tighter, and finally, he kissed me again. Elena, stay with me. But I didn't respond to his kiss, and in the end, I gently pushed him away. Nathan, I'm sorry. Why are you saying sorry? He looked down at me, his eyes slightly red. It's my own problem. I avoided his gaze. I don't want to talk about love anymore. So what's going on between us these days? Nathan held my shoulders, his voice trembling. Elena, what do you think of me? I clenched my palms tightly and took a deep breath. Just treat it as we both get what we need. If you want, we can continue this relationship. If you meet someone you like, you can end it at any time. What kind of relationship? A tool to meet physical needs? You may think so. I refused to look up at him, fearing that I would burst into tears. Nathan, I'm sorry. If this makes you uncomfortable, I will leave Hong Kong immediately and I swear I will never bother you again. Elena, Nathan's eyes were red. He loosened his hand and slowly took a step back. He seemed to be smiling, but the smile was broken. Elena, you can't do this to me. Nathan walked to the door, and when he held the handrail, he suddenly turned back to look at me, and even smiled at me as if to comfort me. Sorry, I just want to be alone for a while. Nathan walked to the door, and when he held the handrail, he suddenly turned back to look at me, and even smiled at me as if to comfort me. Sorry, I just want to be alone for a while. I nodded. Okay, I won't bother you. Elena, give me some time and wait for my reply. Nathan left. I felt exhausted and sat down on the sofa slowly. I felt indescribable pain in my heart, but I knew more clearly that I couldn't devote myself to loving someone so wholeheartedly anymore. I was really scared to start a new relationship. I was afraid that we would end up hating each other. I was afraid that the way that person looked at me would change from passion at the beginning to indifference and then to cold disgust. I didn't want to repeat the same mistake. It's just that I shouldn't have provoked Nathan. If I knew from the beginning that he liked me, I would never have let him take me back to the hotel that night. It was already 3 o'clock in the morning. Nathan drove back to the hotel where Elena was staying. He got out of the car, but did not get in. Instead, he leaned against the car and lit a cigarette. There were lights on in countless windows. He couldn't find which one belonged to Elena, but he knew she was. Knowing that she is in Hong Kong, the same city as him, he knew that as long as he walked in, he would be able to see her in 10 minutes. It seemed like he was happy and satisfied. In fact, it took him less than 2 days to figure it out. It was very easy to comfort herself. Elena had just ended such a relationship. She doesn't want to fall in love again, which is normal. She is disappointed and resistant to men, love, and even marriage. It was normal. Maybe he was too eager and shouldn't have pushed her like that. If she feels that maintaining this kind of relationship for the time being will make her feel relaxed and comfortable, he actually doesn't mind. I have no status. What could be more painful than not being able to get the love I want? If there was, it was probably a year and a half ago, when I learned that Elena and Victor started living together. At that time, I really decided to let it go, so I tried blind dates and met new people, hoping to move on. But he tried it, found it didn't work, and ended it decisively. Later, no matter how much his family urged him, he never had such an idea again. If Elena hadn't broken up and come to Hong Kong, if she hadn't asked him to go up that night, maybe he will be alone for the rest of his life. Nathan put out his cigarette, his eyes gradually calmed down and became firm. But Elena came to Hong Kong, and she spoke that night. If the girl you love is with you but you still lose her, then Nathan, you don't deserve the happiness you want. The night before I left Hong Kong, I met up with my bestie for a drink. How's it going with Nathan? My bestie looked me up and down. TSK, look at your face full of spring colors, your skin is so tender that you can pinch out water. I know Nathan has moisturized you well. I'd better not waste my time. I don't want to fall in love or get married. Elena, why do you want to punish yourself for someone else's mistakes? Besides, this isn't fair to Nathan either. It is said that those who plant trees will enjoy the shade. I agree with this principle, but it does not make sense for the predecessor to commit sins and the current generation to suffer. Victor is a piece of shit, but Nathan is a good man who is trustworthy. Why do you have a prejudice against Nathan because of Victor? I'm not prejudiced against him, I just haven't gotten over it yet. It's not that you haven't gotten over that hurdle yet, it's that you've been PUA'd by Victor, that bastard, for 7 years, and you feel like you don't deserve true love and happiness anymore. When I heard this, I was stunned. Is that so? Because of the pain and entanglement brought by the fear of gain and loss, and because of the extreme lack of security, so I subconsciously doubted everyone and the whole world, and believed that I would never get undivided love. But why can I get true love? Those who betrayed their sincerity will have to swallow 10,000 needles, but for those who have loved sincerely, God will open a new window for her. Baby, do you know how good you are? My best friend hugged me and rocked me gently. She is so beautiful and has such a great figure. She can earn money to support herself while in college, and also support me at the same time. She is beautiful, capable, and kind. If I were a man, I would marry you even if I die. You deserve to be loved, Elena. You deserve to be loved by the best man. Instead of wasting time on a man like Victor. Believe me, baby, he will regret it. He will never get over losing you for the rest of his life. Call Nathan now. Also, cancel your flight ticket. Don't think I don't know you want to run away again. I looked at my best friend, my eyes gradually getting wet, but Yuan, do you think Nathan and I will end up like this? Won't. Why? Because I believe that a man who has enough self-control and would rather be alone than with someone who is not his best friend, after getting the girl he likes, will never be so foolish as to lose her. Do you think he's that pig Victor? I shook my head. Of course he was not Victor. So, call him now, babe. You can't imagine how happy he will be. Thought Nathan would be very happy, but I never expected that a man in his 20s, the president of a group who took over the family business and had achieved remarkable results, would be as happy as a child the moment he received my call. My best friend looked at me with a smile. Elena, are you happy? I nodded. It seems. I am very happy. Look, if you're happy, Nathan will be happier, so isn't that a marriage? When my best friend said this, she suddenly couldn't help laughing. Now, whenever I think about how unhappy Victor will be in the future, I get crazy happy. Not necessarily. He may already have someone new to accompany him, I smiled faintly. Yuan, let's not mention him anymore. At this moment, he could actually say these words so calmly. I just came out of the bar when Nathan's car arrived downstairs. He stood in the night breeze and opened his arms to me. I stopped and looked at him. I have to say, he was really good looking. Every aspect of his appearance met my aesthetic standards. Man can like countless women at the same time, and he can play with 2 women at the same time without breaking up. The seamless transition is not even a bad thing. Then there is nothing wrong with me falling in love again after breaking up. I walked towards him and he also walked towards me with big strides. People were coming and going, and Nathan and I were kissing as if no one was around, and his heart was beating so fast. I touched the back of his neck and it was burning hot. Nathan, do you have a fever? He leaned his forehead against mine, panting softly, his voice low. Elena, I don't know what's wrong with me, it's like this when I touch you. I chuckled, stood on tiptoe and kissed his chin. Maybe, just touch it a few more times? Nathan's ears got even redder and hotter. He held my face and looked at me with burning eyes. Elena, what am I now? I teased him deliberately. What do you think? Fuck buddy or boyfriend, he asked, but without waiting for my answer, he buried his face in my neck and whispered, forget it, don't answer. I don't want to know now. Gently put my hands around his waist and pressed closer to him. Don't you really want to know? Boyfriend. Victor's car stopped at the entrance of an alley. He got out and walked deep into the alley on foot. There lived an old tailor whose ancestors had worked in the Jiangnan weaving industry. Now that he is old, he has long closed the door to visitors, but Victor has plenty of ways to invite this old man. The wedding dress that Elena had cut up was sent to the master craftsman half a month ago. The repair work is almost complete today. As he walked, he thought that what Zachary said 2 days ago was right. Girls all long to wear a wedding dress and marry the person they love. He and Elena had been together for 7 years, but he had never thought of proposing to her. He never expected that Elena would ever think of proposing to him. He had been doing some bad things these days, but he had only done those women on a whim and never really done anything serious. Even Xian, who caused Elena to break up and leave, only impressed him for 3 days. After the contact, he felt bored and was always thinking about Elena. After 7 years of companionship, he was indeed tired and bored. But some people are like colorless and tasteless air. You won't realize how important they are until you lose them. During the days when Elena was away, he had no motivation to do anything. When I'm with friends, she's always on my mind. Especially when he was drunk. If Elena was there, she would definitely pretend to be angry and stop him. If she couldn't stop herself, she would make soup for him late at night. She let him rest his head on her lap and rubbed his temple. Her fingers were soft, and she was letting out tiny complaints and distressed murmurs. I was very annoyed at that time, but now, I miss it so much. Victor thought that this time when Elena came back, he decided to propose to her. He actually knew very early on how much Elena wanted to marry him. If you give her marriage, she will feel at ease and forgive him. The craftsmanship of the master is really good. The wedding dress has been restored to be almost exactly the same as the original one. Victor paid the bill and left when his cell phone rang. He was inexplicably nervous, until he saw Zachary's name flashing on the screen, and his frantic heart finally calmed down. Victor, there's something I've thought about and I have to tell you. What is it? That's right, it's related to Elena. Forget it. I think this is probably a rumor made up by someone else. Zachary, when did you become such a sissy? What happened to Elena? Did she go back to Beijing? Victor, Zachary suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. How could it become like this? Elena could have a scandal with anyone. Why did she have to be with Nathan? Victor has been the one who has the most problems with him in recent years, especially 2 years ago because of a big project. Victor's company and Nathan's Chongqing Industrial had a bloody battle, and finally Nathan won the project. Victor returned home with a defeat. It was his first time to taste defeat. As a result, the already tense relationship between the two became even more incompatible. I told you, don't be angry. I just heard it from others and there is no actual evidence. Yes, someone saw Elena in Hong Kong. She seems to be with Nathan. Of course, it's possible that they just had a meal and nothing else. I understand, Victor. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up now. Victor hung up the phone, holding the big paper bag that contained the wedding dress that Elena bought. Walking step by step in the cold wind of early winter in Beijing, I walked to the entrance of the alley, next to the car. Victor suddenly stopped, and a faint, sarcastic smile slowly emerged on his handsome face. The next moment, he threw the exquisite paper bag in his hand into the trash can without hesitation. Elena is a very conservative and well-behaved girl. Although her family is ordinary, she has no worries about food and clothing. Her parents love her very much. But because she was born beautiful, her elders were very strict with her. Elena didn't start living with him until the fall of her college graduation year. He still remembers that night. She was so nervous that her whole body was shaking. Every inch of her skin was flushed with red, and she was stunningly beautiful. Under him, it seemed like it was about to break, making people feel pity. When everything was over, she cried very hard and said to him again and again, Victor, you are not allowed to bully me. You are not allowed to bully me in the future. You have to be good to me and marry me. Victor, we will be together forever, right? But Elena, who was so naive and simple-minded that she would be with the man she loved forever, had been lost by him for a long time. It's been so long that he can't even remember what her expression was when they broke up for the last time. Was she nodding with a smile, or were her eyes red and tears falling? The phone rang for a long time, and just when he thought she wouldn't answer, the call was connected. At that moment, he actually wanted to say, Elena, please come back, but when he opened his mouth, what he said was, Elena, come back when you've had enough. His ridiculous words were interrupted by a man's chuckle. That laugh was like a cold, hard ice hitting him. Victor felt as if his whole body was wrapped in ice and he couldn't move. Victor, you can't stay overnight to coax a girl, otherwise, someone will intercept her halfway. Nathan? Victor said the name with red eyes and gritted teeth. It's me, Nathan, where's Elena? Let her answer the phone. Victor's eyes seemed to be filled with bloodshot, red and breathtaking. He clutched the phone tightly, his growl trembling. Nathan, if you dare to take advantage of me. She can't answer it. Nathan lowered his head and kissed his girl gently. There was a tear hanging on Elena's eyelashes. His mouth was pursed, and although his eyes were closed, his face was full of grievances. He was so soft-hearted that he couldn't control himself. He kissed her eyelashes and sucked away the tear. She's still unconscious and angry with me. I have to kiss her awake first. Nathan. Victor's voice stopped abruptly. Nathan hung up the phone and turned off the phone. His kiss fell on Elena's slightly swollen lips. Baby, wake up. In fact, I have thought about what it would be like to meet Victor again. He comes from a wealthy family and is very arrogant. We broke up peacefully. If we ever meet again, he will either ignore us or we can just nod and say hello. After all, my parents and relatives are all in Beijing, and Victor and I have some mutual friends. It is impossible that we will have no intersection in our lives. But I never thought that such a high-ranking and respected young man would have such a moment of losing his composure. At that time, I was in a very good mood because I had a lot of sleep. I wore a newly bought nude pink cashmere skirt and put on beautiful makeup. I looked like a plump and sweet peach. I held Nathan's arm and walked out of the revolving door, talking and laughing. Then, I saw Victor getting out of the car. I was stunned and stopped. Nathan's warm fingers gently held my. Victor's shirt was a little wrinkled, and he didn't wear a tie. He looked tired, his brows were furrowed, and his eyes were bloodshot. People were coming and going beside us, and the musical fountain not far away was playing cheerful music. This scene was like a slow-motion scene in a movie, except that I was not a spectator, but one of the protagonists who was caught off guard. Maybe it was because Victor's appearance at that moment was too surprising. Nathan subconsciously protected me behind him, but Victor's expression was very calm. He called my name gently, just like when we were in love before, Elena. I stood there without moving, the music still echoing happily in my ears, but for some reason, I felt an indescribable sadness in my heart. Maybe it was because of Elena who heard the unbearable words that night, or because of Elena who was suddenly notified of the breakup that day. Maybe it was because Elena loved foolishly for 7 years, but it took only 7 days to let go. Elena, I'm here to take you back to Beijing. Victor never looked at Nathan from beginning to end. His eyes fell on my face, and he was so gentle. Can't even remember how long it had been since he looked at me like that before we broke up. Victor stopped about a meter in front of me and said, Elena, let's get married when we get back, and live a good life from now on, okay? He said it so seriously that I almost thought that Victor, who said not long ago that he wanted to give another girl a name, was just my imagination. But it's too late, Victor. A broken heart can't be put back together, and the new heart that grew in the swamp already contained someone else. I shook my head gently. Victor, go away. Elena, I didn't touch Xian. I broke up with her within 3 days. I have already asked a master craftsman to repair the wedding dress you bought. And our wedding rings, I've kept them all carefully. Elena, I also ordered a custom diamond ring. I'm serious. Victor's eyes were getting redder and redder, and his voice was trembling slightly. He held the exquisite diamond ring box and handed it to me like offering a treasure, with eagerness and hope in his eyes, and he was extremely cautious. Looking at him like this, I can't help but admit that I still feel sad, but that's all the sadness I feel. Victor, I already have a boyfriend. I held Nathan's hand tightly, walked from behind him to his side, and stood side by side with him. The color on Victor's face seemed to disappear in an instant, and his gaze slowly slid down, finally stopping on the fingers of Nathan and I that were clasped together. We wore a pair of rings on our middle fingers, just like he and I did back then. Elena, are you serious? I took a deep breath, looked sideways at Nathan, and then nodded vigorously. Yes, seriously. Victor suddenly laughed softly. Do you think he is serious about you? How sincere do you think he is? 2 years ago, he fought me to the death over a project. Now he's pursuing you again. Elena, do you think he has some selfish motives? Does he dare to say openly that he is pursuing you and has no intention of competing with me, Victor? Elena, you are still so naive. All crows in this world are equally black, and so are all men in this world. You've been with me for 7 years, and so much has happened between us. Do you think Nathan really doesn't mind at all? Do you think he can really be with you and live happily ever after? Aren't you afraid that being with him will only mean another 7 years like mine? The cheerful music stopped at some point, and Victor's voice also stopped. There was a moment of silence in my ears, and then there was the subtle sound of something breaking gently. But after that sound, there was an incomparable sense of ease and relief. You see, I don't even have those last bit of sadness anymore. It's just such a pity. Why do people always have some regrets in life? Before today, I have never regretted loving Victor. Good or bad, it is my experience after all, but at this moment, I can't help but regret it. Why didn't I realize for 7 years that Victor never really looked down on me deep down? Nathan pulled me into his arms with a look of distress in his eyes. My face turned pale, but I still smiled and shook my head at him. I'm fine, Nathan. Be good, go to the car first, leave this to me, I want to be with you. I held his hand tightly and refused to let go. Nathan stared at me for a while. Suddenly he lowered his head and kissed me hard. Elena, Nathan, have always had a clear conscience and never regret anything I do. But now, I really regret why I didn't snatch you from him. What right do you have to compete with me? What kind of man are you, Nathan, for taking advantage of someone in distress? Victor, you don't deserve the love and affection that Elena has had for you for the past 7 years. Perhaps it was this sentence that completely angered Victor. He had never lost his mind like this before and spoke without thinking. What about you, Nathan? You found a woman who has been with me for 7 years. How dare you stand in front of me and speak nonsense? Why do you like her? Do you like Elena purely, or do you like my Victor's woman Elena? Nathan punched Victor in the face. How could Victor be the kind of person who would suffer a loss? The two of them went back and forth. Soon, they were covered in bruises. The security guards rushed over and finally separated them. The two men still glared at each other fiercely, refusing to give in. Can you stop now? I was so angry and anxious that I even cried. Victor's face turned pale. Elena, you saw it too. It was Nathan who started it first. I'm not done with him about today's incident. Yes, he was the first to hit you, Victor. I asked him to apologize to you. We will cooperate with you in whatever way you want to solve the problem later. Elena, he was the first to say something rude. Nathan immediately got anxious. I gently held Nathan's hand and spoke calmly again. Victor, I apologize to you on behalf of Nathan first. Elena, are you just going to protect him like this? Victor slowly took a step forward. He made the first move on me. Elena, so how do you want to solve this? Elena, I'm hurt. Victor pointed to his face. Do you see the wound here? It hurts so much. I took a look and said calmly, then I'll call an ambulance for you and we'll cover all the expenses. Elena, you know this is not what I want. Victor tried to pull me, but I dodged. Elena. All the emotions that Victor had been holding on to broke apart. He looked at me with a look of sadness. But my heart is really calm. Nathan suddenly hissed in pain. Elena, do you think I'm going to be disfigured? I turned around quickly and saw the man in front of me had a cut on the corner of his mouth, a swollen area under his eye, and blood on his jaw. It looked really scary, so I took a tissue to wipe it for him. It hurts. Elena, be gentle, be gentle. Nathan grimaced exaggeratedly. You deserve it, I scolded him softly, but I still slowed down my movements out of pain. I need to go to the hospital for stitches. Then you stay with me. I'm afraid of needles. I couldn't help but glare at him, but I still nodded. Nathan hugged me and said, I want you to kiss me again, it hurts so much here. I slowly stood on tiptoe and gently placed a kiss on his wound. Victor didn't say anything else. The setting sun quietly lengthened his shadow. Maybe it was the moment when Elena wiped the blood off Nathan's face. Perhaps it was when Elena coaxed Nathan into kissing him that he finally came to his senses. Elena really didn't love him anymore. Shuewan's question that day actually came true. Elena would never come back to him, and he thought that he was the only one who could easily let go of the 7-year relationship. He thought he was the one taking the initiative in this relationship. Perhaps it was when Elena coaxed Nathan into kissing him that he the person who can't let go is Victor, and Elena is the string that holds the kite. Once the string breaks, the kite loses its direction and can never return home. Victor didn't say anything else. The setting sun quietly lengthened his shadow. I watched Victor turn and walk towards the car, watching his lonely figure disappear. The sun at dusk was suddenly swallowed by the horizon. The sky turned into a light rose blue. Victor's car gradually went away. I seemed to see the 7 years from when Elena was 17 to when she was 24. As the car whizzed away, there was no trace of it. I know that from this day on, the 3 words, Victor, will be like every ordinary name in this world. I won't forget on purpose, but I will never remember on my own initiative again. Elena. Nathan gently held me in his arms. I turned around, looked up at him, and smiled softly. Let's go to the hospital. The night Nathan proposed to me, he drank a lot of wine and said a lot of things to me while he was holding me. But what I remember seems to be only those 2 simple sentences. Elena, we will never have such a 7 years. Elena, we will never break up. Everyone must really think so when they swear. Later, when I broke my oath, I wondered how anyone could believe this. But I am willing to believe in Nathan, which actually means I believe in myself and believe that I deserve to be loved. I believe that sincerity will never be let down. On the day Nathan and I got engaged, I received a gift from Beijing, which was the wedding dress I had bought. Victor asked a master to repair it, and there is a card in the box. The handwriting on it is Victor's. He said, Elena, I will always wait for you. Nathan was beside me and saw the card as well. He smiled confidently. He gave me a big kiss on the face and said, what a pity. I won't give him a chance. But that night, the wedding dress disappeared, and I no longer take such insignificant things to heart. In the 3rd year of my marriage to Nathan, we had our daughter. Soon after my daughter was born, Victor sent her many valuable gifts. I asked Nathan for his opinion. He was still confident, but not very generous. Our daughter doesn't need these. Donate them to the welfare home. Tisk, look at him, he's old and still not getting married. He's staring at other people's wives and children every day, looking for trouble. I couldn't help but smile. Why bother with other people's business? Nathan was so happy that he spun me around in front of the servants and nannies in the room. Elena, what you just said was so nice, can you please say it again? What are you talking about? Hey, put me down first. I feel dizzy. Nathan didn't let go, he sat down and held me in his arms, kissing me again and again, just like what I said just now. Why do you care about other people's business? I just found it funny, but also felt a little sad. A friend of mine once secretly told me that the 2 years after I graduated from college were the 2 years when Nathan was at his worst. But after we got together, he never told me about it, and never showed any negative emotions in front of me. Why bother with other people's affairs? The most important thing is to live our own lives well. As he finished saying this, he raised his hand and hooked it around his neck, kissed his slightly red ears and whispered in his ears, "Hubby, our daughter is 2 months old. Let's go to bed early tonight.